Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a demo of a product that I believe is a new launch or an extension of the actual original product, and it's new to my collection. I'm not sure when it launched, but it still says new on the package. So the product that I'm referring to is the Butter Bronzer in the shade Deep Bronzer, and this is by Physicians Formula. Let me go ahead and tell you guys that I have swatched this or tried to test it on my skin briefly after I first purchased it. I didn't have on my highlighter or anything like that. I just kind of swatched it on my cheek and I wasn't all that impressed. Now that I have on an almost full face of makeup and I'm at the point where I would apply bronzer, let's see if my impression is different than it was the other day. We shall see. Before I move on to that, I'm really excited because I have moved my microphone off of the top of my camera. I have an on-the-go microphone by Rode. It is meant to be installed on the top of your camera, but you guys know with my Sigma lens, this camera makes a lot of noise and I can always hear the autofocus and it drives me crazy. So I did finally get a stand, a boom stand, and my microphone is above me instead of on top of the camera. So we will see, you guys, we will see together if it is less noticeable and have I finally killed the predator. Because, you know, my lens was sounding like the predator. So I'm excited about that. Back to the review. I also purchased this brush. This is a Real Techniques limited edition brush, the Brush Crush. It's a 300 powder brush. Here's our Real Techniques brush. It's fluffy, but it is kind of narrow, and I like that. So let's see. So I'm going to take my new bronzer. All right, so let's see, guys. I did do some cream contouring, but I have not applied bronzer. And I went ahead and did my cream contour because I want to see, will this bronzer still show up? I shouldn't have to skip parts of my makeup step in order to use the bronzer. So let's start with my new brush, and then if it doesn't apply well, I have some other brushes that I want to test out. Oh my goodness. Promising, guys. Do you see it? Oh, this is very promising. Okay. Let's go up here. Wow. So let's see. So I have applied it to half my face. Guys, get a good look at this. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit just to make sure that you are able to see everything. This is the bronzer side. This is without bronzer. Okay. I can definitely see it. I'm really thrilled. So before I zoom out, let me test something out. This is the original bronzer, and I want to just see how different it might look. I'm going to use the other side of the same brush, and let's see. I'm going to still go back over it with the new one in just a minute, but we're going to start with this, the first one, because I want you guys to know that I'm not crazy. I told you that it doesn't really show up as well on my skin, and I want you all to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so now I've added the original bronzer on this side, and the new one on the other side. Do you see the difference? I see a difference. So let's go back in with the deep. I feel like I have like so much makeup on my face today. Oh my goodness. we're just gonna keep on piling it on. And let's go back into the deep. Okay. Oh my goodness. I think I might have gone overboard, guys. Okay. So let's see if we can fix this then. So I went a little overboard. You guys know I did. So I added a little bit of my Peach Perfect powder, my translucent powder, back into the center of my face. And now I'm just buffing out any harsh lines I have here using my It Cosmetics brush. Okay. Okay. Here we are. I'm really thrilled. I'm really thrilled with the results. Okay, so this is how we're looking, and I'm gonna go ahead and zoom it back out and then talk to you guys about what I'm feeling about this bronzer. So I'm pretty impressed with the bronzer, but I will say what I think is I have to have like highlighting concealer on in order for it to really show up on my skin. As you guys can tell, it is visible, and it did add dimension and color back into my skin, but it's still not like the most rich color bronzer that I own. It's not the most rich bronzer that I own. So even when you hold these up together, this is the original, this is the new one. They're barely, like, look at how similar. Okay, this is the deep, this one is the original, this one is the deep, the right hand is the deep, my right. Okay, so it is darker, but not all that much darker. But I can see it. It is visible, but I did highlight with my Tarte Shape Tape. Like, I really wanted to give this bronzer the benefit of the doubt, and so I really highlighted like I normally do to see if the bronzer would show up, and it does. But it is not the most rich bronzer that I own. I do have some others that are deeper than this one, but this is an effort. Okay, so let me go ahead and complete the rest of my makeup look, and then I will tell you what it is I'm talking about when I say effort. Alright, so I'm back and I have completed my makeup look. I've added highlighter, blush, and setting spray. So what am I thinking about this product? So I did want to also mention that there's a little compartment here with an applicator, okay, and a mirror, okay, and this is what the deep bronzer looks like. Here is the original. So you can tell that the deep is a little bit darker, just slightly. So it does have that same butter bronzer smell. It has that same silky finish, and I do like the tone of this bronzer as far as, you know, how it looks on the skin. It's not too red on my skin. It does warm up the skin, but you know, I went a little overboard, and so I added quite a bit. But it does warm up the skin, and you were able to see it, and it did add a little bit of definition. I still think that this is just an effort. I appreciate Physicians Formula for making the effort to include more skin tones, but I still feel like this should not be the deepest shade. I consider myself to be in the middle when I look at foundation ranges. So if I'm purchasing foundation, I usually land somewhere in the middle if there is a good range of foundations. I am somewhere in the middle or kind of leaning towards the darker shades. So I'm like at the 60% mark, okay? Over 50%, but leaning towards the darker shades. And that is typically because women of color aren't included as much as they should be. So if I land somewhere in the middle when I look at foundations, then I would think that this bronzer should be somewhere in the middle, and there should be 2 to 3 shades darker than this one available. There are 3 shades, I believe 3 shades available that are lighter than this one. So there should be at least 2 and possibly 3 shades that are darker than this one. Otherwise, you're saying that there aren't any people in the world who are darker than me. And we all know I'm not the darkest person in the world. There are women who have deeper skin tones than me, and they may want to use bronzer as well. I don't want to beat up on this one company because they're not alone. There are lots of companies that just don't get it right with bronzer. That is probably a product that I have purchased the most and regretted purchasing because the bronzer was just not dark enough. And I could name a ton of them that don't have bronzers that include me. And if I am certainly not the darkest person and I'm not included, then it is like sending a message that I don't want you wearing bronzer. I don't want you wearing my product, therefore I'm not going to include you. So I do appreciate the companies who have really gone out of their way to include women of color who have deeper skin tones. And I do appreciate that Physicians Formula has made the effort to add to this product line. But if you're out there and you're listening, you still need to add at least 2 more shades to include women who have darker skin than me. All of that being said, I do like the product for myself. It is very buttery and creamy, just like the original felt on my skin, even though the original just never worked for me. And I appreciate that now I am able to use this product, and I will use it again. It does add a little bit more dimension to my skin than the original did, and I do like that. But I just wish it was a little bit deeper for women who have darker complexions than me. Even I would typically choose a bronzer that is a little bit darker. Just a little bit darker. That's my take on it. I know I was on a little bit of a soapbox, but this is something that I'm passionate about, and I really enjoy wearing bronzer, and I want more companies to include all women of all shade ranges that are out there in the world. I'm tired of being excluded. Okay, so I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys again very soon in my next one. So until the next time we meet again, this is Savvy signing out.